We come now to number 6 in our series on 3 cosmic messages. This is the rest of the first angel's message, the hour of his judgment, because the hour of his judgment has come. We've already looked at give reverence, respect to God and glory. This is because his judgment has arrived. There is going to be a judgment, and we often kind of turn away from that. We react rather negatively to concepts of judgment because we don't want to be judged. And judging in the human sense is usually condemnation or having some kind of sentence of going to prison or paying a fine or something like that. We're all very negative. But in Scripture, judgment is very much about being positive. A decision is made, a judgment is rendered. So yes, you can be judged to be guilty, and therefore there is a consequence to that. But there's also the judgment that you are good and right, and there's a consequence to that as well. And that's what we're really looking at when it comes to this question of judgment. It's a decision, a separation, if you like. The judgment of God at the end is to separate the good from the bad. You remember all the parables, the wheat and the tares, the good fish in the net, the bad, and then of course, above all, the sheep and the goats. And this is something that we really do need to think seriously about, because on what basis is there the separation? The good fish, the bad fish, the wheat, the tares, the sheep, the goats. It's on who you are as demonstrated by what you do. The commendation that is given there to the sheep is because you did all these things for me. And the sheep say, well, we didn't notice that. And yet God says, you did it for me by doing it for all of these least of my people. And the same in the opposite sense, the negative sense, for all those who didn't do it. So there's that whole aspect of separation at the judgment. And we tend to always want to focus on the aspect of judgment as being about us, because that's what relates to us most significantly. But I want to remind you, C.S. Lewis had a book called God in the Dock. And I think that is perhaps the place we really need to go to think about what this judgment is all about. It's the vindication of God, to show that he has done what is right, that he is a good and loving God, in contrast to all the lies of the devil and all his charges against God. So let's look at judgment not just being about our disposition, our destiny, but the vindication, the proof that God is the kind of person he has said he has always been. He is not the kind of person the devil has made him out to be. That's really important. It's a good quote here from Dr. Heppenstall. It is important to notice that the central issue in all these scriptures concerned with the work of judgment is the justification and vindication of God, not of man. Did you get that? The justification and vindication of God, not of man. The great concern is that God is declared righteous. Only as this becomes true can the saints be proclaimed righteous. It is the vindication of God and his throne that alone guarantees the triumph and vindication of the believer. And that quote has really made me think about how we really don't often speak about the judgment that's being placed on God. Who judges God? All the onlooking universe. And in Revelation, we see these people saying, God, you are truly wonderful. Not just because you are forced to say that about God, but because God is the kind of person that he has shown himself to be. What a wonderful God we serve. So let us celebrate the fact that the hour of his judgment has come, is coming. will be done so that he can be shown to be truly good and right and doing the right thing in saving you and me as we trust in him.